Good morning. So the subject that has my attention this morning is the idea for Bitcoin Cash to have offline payments. So the intermediary, for the whole point of Bitcoin is to get rid of the intermediaries, but in order to use Bitcoin, we always have the intermediary of the technology. So we have the hardware of our phone, and then we have the operating system, and then the ability to run the wallet app. You can use Bitcoin, like you could hold Bitcoin without the phone with an offline wallet, and then you could transact those Bitcoin via transacting that offline wallet. However, in order to verify that off-chain token represents a real on-chain thing, it would have to be online. So there could potentially be currency units, but why? The whole point here is for offline solutions, because the reality is that not everybody is online, and to have a secure layer of the cryptocurrency which verifies itself, and then to have the digital technological intermediary as being basically the guarantor, the trust facilitator, the securator of the veracity of the Bitcoin blockchain. And when I say Bitcoin, I basically mean Bitcoin Cash, because it's the Bitcoin blockchain that's meant to work as peer-to-peer frictionless cash. Although this could be a workable solution for Bitcoin Core as well, because it would be a second layer solution, but they already have Lightning, and the whole point of that is re-intermediating, whereas the second layer that I'm proposing, which would be kind of on Bitcoin Cash, it would be completely disintermediating even that technological aspect which secures Bitcoin Cash. So by being able to create a disintermediated currency that's backed by Bitcoin Cash, so Bitcoin Cash becomes the money, and then you can create a currency which isn't intermediated by technology. So that could be currency notes, just like we have now, but instead of the numbers representing debt notes of the Federal Reserve, the numbers would represent satoshis of Bitcoin Cash, or denominations of satoshis of Bitcoin Cash. So I was just kind of talking about this in the chat, and not really, I don't know. I like the Bitcoin Cash chat community. There's a number of active people. They know a lot more than me about all of the technological stuff, and I come at everything from just an ideological perspective, and then by being able to sort of bounce some conversation back and forth, I think the ideological aspect helps to inspire the dev people, and then the way that the dev actually works, or the cryptocurrency actually works, helps to guide my ideas to become more practical. So one solution for this for Bitcoin Cash is basically to create, like I said, currency units, and then you'd be able to trade those currency units just like cash. So for example, if I had a 1-bit currency unit, which would be 1,000th of a Bitcoin, then that would represent 60 cents. And so we'll finish with the idea before we get to the tech aspect of it. So you can have a 1-bit note, a 10-bit note, a 100-bit note. And if you have 10 100-bit notes, you'd have a whole Bitcoin. There wouldn't really be a point of having Bitcoin notes, because the whole point would be doing transactions for less than that, though you could feasibly, but it would most likely be, as you, instead of the current currency system where you get paper bills for the bigger numbers and then you get coins for the smaller numbers, it would most likely reverse that. So it would be paper notes for the smaller amount of Bitcoin Cash, and then for the larger amounts it would probably be somewhat like I think it's pronounced Casacious coins, but basically crypto connected with the precious metal would make sense. So if I think the original iteration of that was with gold coins and 1 Bitcoin core, 1 BTC per gold coin. Or actually, I think at the time there wasn't even a Bitcoin core, it was just Bitcoin. But before pre-fork, I think was when those were made. So I just wanted to make this video to kind of throw the idea out there at the internet that even though Bitcoin has the intermediary of the technology in order to really use it effectively, we could create a layer upon it which completely disintermediates technology, and then that would add an added value to the utility of Bitcoin Cash, as it would really turn Bitcoin Cash into the money. And then the currency that would be used, like anyone could transact the money if you have an internet connection, but you would allow there to be currency transactions without an internet connection and without any friction, because and instantly. So I can pay for my whatever small amount, my pack of gum, which is 25 cents let's say in Bitcoin, my pack of gum, which is half of a third of a bit. So what would a third of a bit be? Well, you'd have to get down to the next denomination of bucks, so there would be 1,000 bucks in every bit. So it would be kind of like, if 1 bit currently is 67 cents and you're trying to get to 25 cents, then you're going to have 200 bucks. And then how many times does 25 go? And would it be, and 17/25 added on. Anyways, fractions math. So how would this work technologically? So the technological side of this. So the front end, it makes sense. You can have regular currency to make transactions. We've just changed the denomination. Obviously, there's sometimes the cat catches my tongue and I cannot speak further. Some things are wise to say and some things are better left unsaid. So the way that this would work is that each currency unit would have its own seed, and then it would somehow, I'm hashing this out right now because I haven't figured this out, but each note would have its own seed. Each currency note would have its own seed, which would represent a packet of Satoshis on the blockchain. So your mint would be where, say we've got 1 Bitcoin Cash, and we want to mint a whole bunch of denominations of it. So we make maybe 5 100 Bitcoins, or bit bills. See, that instantly gets confusing, a Bitcoin. So it would be the bits would be in bills, right? Whereas the bucks, anyways, it's all fluid. Where did I get lost? The bits. If I'm minting notes, I would basically I would take my 1 Bitcoin, and so I would make 5 different wallets for each of the 100-bit notes, and I would send 100 bits to each one. And then so each one of those units, it then gets connected to a 100-bit bill or token or physical thing, and then somehow the seeds would have to be written into that. Or maybe what would happen is everything would be dual signature. So you would have like one of the signatures on the seed in which you have the currency, and then if you ever want to redeem the currency, you take it back to the mint or whatever, And then when they both sign it, then it can release the actual crypto to you. And until then, you can verify it perhaps with just the one to verify that this unit of currency is backed by the actual Bitcoin Cash, even though you wouldn't be able to transact it. So I think that's the solution. So that doesn't seem too hard. It's just a whole bunch of tokens with multi-sig addresses, and you can, I think that makes sense. So I'm just going to leave it there, and I'm going to throw this on that same chat. We'll see if anyone thinks that this is an idea worth pursuing. I got one link, or I made my own connection to Vin Armani. Someone else connected me to Vin Armani. He was doing something similar with eCash, and I mean the whole eCash thing. It's like they're trying to achieve the same goal, and you can't blame them for figuring out a way to get funding. And it's not really, you could say it's not really tax and redistribute, because who it's taxing is the miners. It's not actually taxing the users, because the users pay the same amount of money, and it's just the miners who are paying, but what it does is it institutionalizes that so instead of the miners having the free market incentive to ensure that there's utility chains for them to mine, maybe the miners are all short-term oriented, but it institutes that where there becomes like a governing body. So it's not like I think my point doesn't even need to be made, because I've clarified it. That's the end of the video. Well, what's the solution? Well, they've already made this fork, and basically that fork is testing things, but it doesn't have the community or the market cap. However, what the devs from that fork could do is they could find a way to monetize something, for example, this solution, and they could create that for Bitcoin Cash in a for-profit way. So maybe the mint, which mints this currency, maybe there is a 1% fee if you want to exchange your currency back for the Bitcoin Cash. Maybe there's a 1% fee that's charged for the overhead of running the mint, or some sort of fee that makes it all profitable to do this kind of thing, just like however they did the Cassius coins. But to figure out for-profit solutions that can then be done and reintegrate onto the Bitcoin Cash blockchain, or even just develop the solution and then market it if you want to make a profit, or just share it if the goal isn't for profit, because a lot of people are oriented by higher values than profit, and that's what Bitcoin is in the first place. Here is a form of value which is higher than the previous form, which was simply based on debt and profit. So for people to really make the transition into that value system, it might not always be profitable. It might require a sacrifice of profit in order to revalue into a value system which has greater utility and empowerment. And it's logical, in fact, that we would have to pay a price in order to empower ourselves. So I'll leave it on that note.